Please join me in welcoming the very honorable Governor of our great state of Illinois. So let's shake it up with a round of applause. Governor Bruce.
Excited to be here. I obviously didn't get the memo around well enough. I told everybody, they referred to me when I first was gaveling in the General Assembly, they said, His Excellency the Governor. I said, never call me that. I'm no more excellent than anybody else. I'm a hardworking guy who loves Illinois. I am the Governor, you can call me that. Don't call me honorable either. I'll know all than anybody else. Honorable, Excellency, His Majesty, none of that. I'm the Governor. I'm working for you. For me, I work for you. I work for everybody in the state, every family in the state. I work for everybody who voted for me. I work for everybody who didn't vote for me. I'm working for every family in the state. And I'm doing it simply because I love the state. I love it. We've raised our 6 kids here. I've built businesses here. I'm an entrepreneur here. I love Illinois. And rather than leave, like a lot of folks I know, I said, no, I'm staying. I'm going to fight. I'm going to turn our state around in a dramatic fashion. That's why I'm here. God bless. You know, I was here a lot in Champaign County during the campaign. Now I'm going to be here a lot as governor. I want Champaign County booming. Booming. It's a very big honor to be here because I love the U of I. I didn't go to U of I, but it's one of the most important educational institutions in America. And important strategic assets the state of Illinois has. And I want the U of I thriving. I want it best in the world. And I'm not just making that up. We can do it. We're going to work together. Now, I've been honored to work with the Chancellor, been on her Strategic Advisory Board for the last few years. I've donated and helped endow some things at the school because I love it. It's a very important project. And I'm going to talk about that as part of my slides. I'm going to give you a little preview for my State of the State speech that I'm giving Wednesday. February 4th in Springfield is my State of the State speech. And then February 18th is my budget address. And I ain't going to do like in the past where you kick it down the road and you delay a month on the budget and you hide and you post. No, we're going to run it on time. We're going to be disciplined about it. We're going to lay the process out. And everything's going to run on time. The ships are going to go right. And I'll tell you, the short summary of the State of the State, it ain't good. It ain't good. We're the worst run state in America. Deficits, unemployment, crime in too many communities. Anything that can be managed and led, we're leading on the stuff you don't want to lead on, and we're trailing at the bottom on the stuff you do want to lead on. And I ain't going to take that anymore. We have the hardest working people in America. We have the best location of any state in America. We have the most fertile farms in America. We are the capital, the heart of the center of America in the commerce and trade. We're the heart. And Indiana's kicking our tail. Wisconsin's kicking our tail. Every time a job moves over to Iowa or Missouri, it frosts me no. I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. And I'm sick and tired of those governors coming up from Texas and Tennessee and, hey, come on down where it's here. And you know what? Not that I just tell them to stay home. I say, yeah, come on up here. I'll compete with you. And I'm coming down there. I'm going to bring companies up from Texas and coming up here. We're going to compete with everybody and get our economy going. I love competition. I'll try to block it out. Let us compete. The families in Illinois know how to compete. We're going to have the strongest economy in America, not one of the laggards in the nation. That's what it's all about. In America, let's compete and be the best. Compete and be the best. Here's a fundamental fact this is the most important slide in some ways I want you to understand. We are on an unsustainable path in Illinois. Completely, fundamentally unsustainable path. And we can't just nibble around the edges or slow down the death spiral. We need a dramatic change of direction. Dramatic change of direction. And all the chatter, everybody's talking, hey Bruce, what are you going to do about revenue? What are you going to do about taxes? How high should the income tax be? You know what? That's not, well, I don't care what the income tax rate is, that's not going to fix our problem. Let's not get overly raw, let's get all worked up, what's the income tax rate going to be? Everybody in Springfield wants to talk to me about it. Let's talk about the fundamentals. Talking about raising taxes or raising taxes, that will not fix any problem. In fact, it's going to makes some of the problems worse. Classrooms with the students and the teachers in there, in the classrooms. And we want the money with the recipients of government services, and we would need the money helping with impact the families in back in the communities to help the folks who it's designed for. We are going to deal with this. It ain't going to be pretty, it ain't going to be easy, because the groups in there who make their money from that, bureaucracy, they are strong. Woo, they're strong. And they don't like what I'm saying. It's okay. It's okay. The government union bosses are doing their job. They're doing their job. You've got to respect that. But somebody's got to do a job for taxpayers. Somebody's got to do a job for school children. Somebody's got to do a job for small business owners. Somebody's got to do a job for homeowners. They've all been left out of this process in Illinois for years. Well, I'm representing those folks. And I'm working for you and everybody, every homeowner, every taxpayer, every small business owner. That's who's got to be represented at the government. We have not been a great state for a long time. We have to change that. If all we want to argue about is tax rates, we will fail. 13 states in every metro. And we'll have the data. Let me tell you, the states who touch us are pretty weak siblings, really. I mean, that's a low bar. Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, Florida, they're kicking tails compared. But let's just compare to our neighbors. Look at, I mean, come on. Come on. I mean, I like to be an inspirational guy. How about if we aspire to be average? Let's aspire to be average. We'll be way better off. Look at, I mean, good grief. Top states, ranking, you can, just two examples. Where's Illinois? 48. Come on. I have a state in the campaign. I've met with thousands of business owners. Two things I heard a lot of frustration, and many more companies thinking about leaving than I realized. But the two things I heard a lot about, workers' comp and property taxes, probably at the top of the list. But come on. And we have a system, guys. You know what? We're one of the few states where the judges are elected, totally elected. And they get set up who can run by the political machine. We have the second highest property taxes in America. We're tied basically, we're basically tied with New Jersey. I don't want to be tied with New Jersey on anything. And it's not a coincidence that we have the highest property taxes in America, and we in New Jersey are neck and neck every year for out-migration. That ain't a coincidence. And I travel the state, and I've met with hundreds and hundreds and thousands of families, and many of them said, Bruce, I'm on limited income. I can't afford to stay in my house anymore. I can't afford the real estate taxes. It's ridiculous. There's no reason for this. Why should we be the worst of that? You know, this is punishing to our families and our homeowners, and it's punishing to a lot of businesses. And by the way, I don't think too much on New Jersey, but let me tell you something. There's a lot of people saying, oh, it's happy feet, New Jersey's getting turned around. Let me tell you something. The reason there's happy feet in New Jersey is because they're not paying their pensions. That ain't a solution, and I'm not going to do that in Illinois. If we got a pension, we're going to pay it. And we're going to change our pensions because they're unaffordable. We can talk about that. The map is stunning. I don't know if it's in these slides. I pick out only a few of the slides for every talk. I've done this a half dozen times, so not every slide's in this deck, but there's a lot to talk about in pensions. We've got a very detailed plan on how we're going to fix it. But here's an issue. Illinois, this is again where we're not thoughtful about this. We are very narrow in our sales tax base and high in our sales tax, and we're not. And we're out of balance, and we're not competitive. We've got to look at our entire tax code. And you know what? So with all the anti-business structure, the regulations and taxes, guess what? Look at this. These are weak sisters for around us. Look at us for the last, what's that, 10, 11 years? Look at the out-migration from Illinois. Hello? How are we going to pay for pensions with that? How job creation, and they're moving their company and taking their jobs with them. Big problem. Big problem. And here's a really critical issue. So here in Illinois, we've had declining real average family income. This is a metric for me. It's a fundamental. I want real family income in Illinois rising. It's been falling for a long time. Other states it's been rising, it's not rising in Illinois. This is key to the American dream, the better life. We have the rising income. That comes not by force, but by competition and a thriving economy and companies competing to hire workers and a workforce that's highly educated, well-trained, can drive jobs. Basically flat. That's our government. This is state government spending. Exactly. Hello. Not sustainable. Just not. We can all, and raising income taxes are not going to fix this problem. That's basically, it has the net effect of borrowing from the pensions at 8.3%, because our pensions have been generating 8.3% on average for 30 years. So we've been borrowing for years. And this is bipartisan. This isn't only one party doing this. We've been borrowing against the pensions at 8.3% for years. This can started getting kicked down the road a long time. Well, I'm governor now, well, the can is stopped. And it's going to be a little bit, when we put the, scrap the can, it's going to cause a whole lot of, consternation, but we got to do it. But when we don't pay bills, the government accounting is, if the cash, if the dollar didn't leave the drawer, we didn't spend it. Oh my goodness, yes we did. With cruel accounting in business, you can run a business without that. We don't do that in government. You don't pay a bill, we didn't spend the money. Hello. So we incur liabilities, we don't pay, and you know what? We're paying 12% interest on a lot of the bills we haven't paid. So conflicts of interest in state government, they're everywhere. Let's talk about one of the biggest, maybe the biggest. So we finally woke up and we stopped taking political campaign cash at the state level from businesses who contract with the state. And Republicans did a lot of shenanigans with this, I'll tell you. Republicans would run for office, they'd get big cash from companies that contract with the state, and they'd make sure their buddies got the state contracts or whatever. It's just unforgivable. But we've stopped a lot of that. We haven't stopped all of it, we stopped a lot of it. But we didn't stop the government unions. The government unions contract 100% with the state. And they're unlimited. And how does it go? Think about this. I mean, so you're an elected official, I'm a government union boss, and I say, okay, you're running for office here, I'll give you $3 million for my campaign, our dues, which the taxpayer paid. I'll give you 5,000 of my members to work, and they say they're not doing it on taxpayer time. And then after you win, let's negotiate our pension, and our work rules, and our health care. Come on. That's a conflict of interest. If that went on in business all the time, somebody would get fired at a minimum, but probably somebody would go to jail. Need to go, jobs leaving Illinois, and the little circle up there with the politicians and their buddies making a lot of money for each other. That's a broken system right there. That's a broken loop right there. Here's just one factoid. There's a whole bunch we could list. So Blagojevich, he put in car tax years ago. And I have friends forcing workers to do this, forcing the taxpayers out of the loop. It's wrong. It's broken. Fundamental conflict of interest. Just one example. So the teachers don't have a choice in Illinois. They have to. You're going to teach, you got to pay the dues. $1,000 forced, whether you agree with the philosophy of politics or whatever. It's not right. I believe people spin me as, oh, Bruce, you're anti-union. I'm not anti-union. I'm anti-conflict of interest. I want the workers choose to join a union if you want. Don't join a union if you want. People should be able to decide. I believe in freedom and American choice. I think that's the right thing. My grandfather was in a union. I'm not anti-union. But I don't want conflict and I don't want force. I don't want threat. People should be able to decide. K-12 spending up substantially. This is not sustainable. The state share has been sliding down. This forces more and more pressure on local property taxes. Oh, I didn't do it. So we have 7,000 units of government in Illinois. Double the typical state. 7,000 units of government. Here's just where some of this, so we put 150 unfunded mandates on the education system since '92. School districts are legally barred. We restrict by regulations of the state level what school districts can do and how much they can contract with private or independent or to save money. It's not allowed. And the prevailing wage restrictions and the PLA, the forced, the project labor agreements, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars every year, forced in extra costs put on the burden of the taxpayers, and it keeps us, if we have to spend 20% more to build a building, to build a school, think how many fewer classrooms we can build with the same amount of money. Think how many fewer education services we can support from the taxpayers given that cost structure. It's not competitive, it's not fair. We have forced uncompetitive bidding in Illinois. The workers' contracts, it's been very abusive. There's been a lot of, hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. I'll jack up your salary right at the end. So when you leave, you can get a much bigger. We got people making more in retirement, way more than when they were working. That ain't right. That was not the intent of the system. And then they changed it. There used to be a lot of spiking. Then they put it down with this language. And what happens is now 6% is basically the contracted floor, how much of the spiking goes on. That's not fixing the problem. And it's a typical Illinois way of fixing something. This is all those media was on it, so and it doesn't really, their cronies, the closed loop is still protecting itself. And by the way, the ISAT, I did only standardized test. The ISAT, good riddance, I'm glad it's gone. It's been a travesty for years. It's been manipulated to dummy down, make it look like our schools were getting better when they weren't. And we used to do vocational training well 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And you know what, one of the biggest complaints, as I travel the state for business, I would talk to business owners and they'd say, gosh, we're frustrated with the taxes, the regulations, and Indiana's looking better, Texas looking better. But you know what, hundreds of businesses said, we've got jobs here. We have jobs. We'd like to hire more people. We can't find the people who got the technical skills. And I'm not talking about rocket science. I'm talking about technical skills in welding or basic computer skills to fill the jobs. That's a fundamental failure of our education system. U of I already is a major driver for us. I want to take it to a whole nother several levels up and really have the U of I a massive, powerful engine of economic growth and job creation with the state. We can do this. U of I can do much more than already good, very good. But we can do more. Here's just some preliminary thoughts, my biases. First of all, I've heard a lot of chatter from my friends that some of the adjustments, whether it's pension stuff or other things, is hurting our competitiveness in recruiting faculty. We can't let that happen. If you see an opportunity we're not taking advantage of, please let us know. If you're mad that we're going in a direction you think is fundamentally wrong, let us know. I'm working for it. Our team is working for it. We want to try to be responsive. I'll apologize right now. I joked before drinking from the fire. It's really true. I mean, there's a lot to say grace over. And I feel like by about 9 o'clock every night, I feel like the fire was a bit in my face. It's not going sideways. It's kind of going like that. And but we are. The time to move is now. The time to act is now. And we need your input. If you're not thriving, we're failing. And I'm going to measure my success by how strong the business community is around the state, and how many jobs we're creating, and how many high-quality careers, or high-paying careers we're creating. And that's what you do. And I want to be your best ally you've ever had. I want to be the best advocate you've ever had. And I'll test. I'll be here in Champaign County a lot. I'll be testing and see how we're doing. So there's a lot. It's hard to move everything on a dime, but we can begin the process. So thank you for your time today. It's been an honor to be with you. I look forward to working together. Thanks very much.
The man right here is going to fix this stuff.